So first and foremost, thank you very much, Suresh Nair. As you know, I have great admiration for you in terms of your knowledge about books, and also, as you know, I'm petrified to give you a book because 99% of the time you found fault with the book, right? My first question to you is: we are here at the PrintWeek Awards night, and personally, it was a very gratifying experience for me because uh, basically on two counts, just the sheer volume of book entries that came in
Okay,
and the variety of books. And the
agreed.
second thing was the type of people who had sent their entries this time. So, I mean, as I keep saying, the industry needs new heroes. And suddenly I see that new heroes have popped up. So that was very, very encouraging.
Good.
What I want to know from you is what are the trends? Because you've been obviously keeping an eye on what has been happening. And the numbers are very healthy. There's
Yeah.
robust growth.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of churning and festering. And there seems to be a new mechanism through which book people are, of course, producing or manufacturing. What are the trends that you have been discerning, as Bindwell?
As Bindwell, what we see as a new trend now, I think so. It's more to do with people customers are now going inline, and they are also there is a separate segment called as a digital. So it's a book on demand kind of requirement. So these two are the two different ends when it comes to book production. Before it was something in between. So they were requiring a machine which can produce 20,000 books. And okay, side by side, there was a short run also was managed. Now they either combine all those machines together, like a gatherer, binder, and a trimmer. And so a lot of savings in terms of labor, a lot of space has been optimized, and power, which was a big factor. Previously, there was bigger machines, and now you have a smaller footprint machines, and similarly with digital as well. So this is the new trend which is coming up.
Just to interject, when you say inline, what do you mean? Because I remember when I had visited the Bangalore factory, there was, I think, I won't name the client, but there were two big beasts there which could basically do gathering,
Yeah.
do stitching, and of course, traditional binding. So,
Yeah.
again, if you can just give us a sense, what are the kind of inline projects you've been handling, and typically for what type of customers? Is it textbooks? Is it trade books? I mean, what is happening in that space?
Inline setup is something to do with textbooks as well as trade books also. Right. So it's not. It's only about the requirement what right. the customer wins. So you have a gatherer there, a binder, and the binder takes is connected with a conveyor, and it goes to the 3 trimmer. So from the signature and to the finished book, it's in a continuous flow. So that's a complete inline setup, and I think so. Medium to large segments now are planning for inline machines. We see a lot of installations happening in India as well as in exports as well.
Of
So
course, yeah.
that's
And again, interesting geographies. We are getting to hear stories from, say, Chhattisgarh,
yeah.
hinterland of Uttar Pradesh, and sort of a combination of publisher, printers, etc. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that
We
again, you can see that even the numbers seem to be. I mean, whatever we have extrapolated, we find that trend. And in digital print, what is it? It's mainly what your brand calls Siglosh, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
yes,
But
yes.
what does I mean? What space is it occupying? Is it like a Duplo, or is it like a Horizon? And I mean, are you doing in digital print what traditional well-bound six clamp or single clamp had done 10, 15 years in terms of optimization of post press? Again, if you can touch upon that, are you revolutionizing the small mom and pop digital print store?
Yeah, that is first of all the brand. Yes, Ziglock. We had named it for the digital print segment, and we are focusing on smaller binder. So what we see as a challenge for any digital shops is the space. So footprint is the biggest issue there. So we have come out with a smaller footprint machines which can do multiple or the same kind of application which a normal single clamp which was a slightly bigger. So all the features are the same. So and we are giving some additional features now. So which is most related to digital itself. So you can do one book, or short run books like 10 books or even 200 books. So that's a choice
And
given to them.
there's an example I unfortunately don't have, but it's about, I think, around 1400 pages, POD, single copy. I'll show it to you after.
Okay.
Astounding. I mean, the fact that this can be executed as a digital print
Yes.
project,
Yes.
and you meet the owner, it's a young, kachi boy, 25, 30 years, and they are investing 5 crores, 10 crores in post press.
Mm.
Is this the new trend that you're picking up?
Yes, I think so. Quality demands such kind of investments. So, and what we see that everything has changed around how a book should look like. So, a well-bound book or perfect bound book should be in a perfect way now. So, there are a lot of science and things to it. So, I think so.
So we'll come to your favorite topic, which is finding manufacturing defects, right? So again, three no-nos that, I mean, I know that you have an sort of unerring eye in terms of looking at a book, but usually what are the manufacturing defects that you see in the binding, mainly in India, where people are making elementary mistakes? I mean, I know you've done a lot of work in page pull, you've done a lot of work with, of course, grain direction. You of course looked at how the structure of the book is. It's not as simple as it looks, right? So I mean, you can design the inside very well, but the design of the actual structure of a book sometimes can be faulty. So if you can share a little, yeah.
I think so, like what you mentioned, a book is meant to be read, right? So the primary application is to it's the readability of the book. No matter the content and the print, everything is equally important. But there is no point if you can't open a book and keep it in a hand and then not able to read it properly and it goes back.
Like a
We yes, exactly. We call it as a mousetrap with a sound. There's no point in making such books. So I think so. Grain direction is a elementary thing. What when you need to manufacture a book, so even with the covers as well as the signatures inside. So I think so. Grain direction is something which is very important, which every printer should think and start implementing on that. It should be parallel to the spine. So most of the books, what we pick up, if you see this, and it's not really that readability. Then comes, even though it is perfect bound well, it gives load to the spine. So, and there is if it's a perfect bound book, it falls apart, no doubt about it, and it is going to happen, no matter you have a good machine, have a best of best adhesive, or the kind of paper with most fiber, it's going to fall apart. So the basic thing is that.
Parallel to the spine.
Yeah, yeah. The
And
cover
whose
as well.
responsibility is it? Is it the printers or is it the book designer or the publisher should ensure the page formats and?
No, it's not about that. It's the printer. Whoever is sourcing the paper.
Right.
So,
You mentioned EVA. I mean, you mentioned adhesives, and I know that. I mean, there have been three. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm entering your territory. EVA, and then PUR, and of course now there is a term with EVA. I mean, what is it? PU. Sorry.
Yeah, it's
So EVA, PU, PUR.
so yeah, it's somewhere close to it. The first is the dispersion adhesive, which is the water based. So then in hot melts, when it comes to it is an EVA, and then in the top of the pyramid is the PUR. So now we have something in between which is called as a polyolefin PO. So yeah, so that is somewhere in between. So better than EVA and not so good as a PUR. But the advantage of PO is, you need not have a separate system, dispensing system like you need for PO. So, and the challenge is
reasons why it probably didn't get adapted as much as we thought. I mean,
exactly, but it will pick up. What I see is that yeah. So PR is still there for challenging jobs. Then like you have a very high GSM art card, the inner substrate, or the cover and the book doesn't match. So for toughest jobs, you still need PUR. This is you have a lot of limitation when it comes to EVA. When it comes to print or solvent attacks and things like that, such complaints, PO is much better because that is synthetic. So it doesn't have a component called as wax. So that's the reason it behaves a little bit better than yeah.
And again, question PO, is it available with most of the adhesive manufacturers?
Yes, now yeah.
Henkels and the
Exactly.
Okay, that's
yeah.
But I'm not hearing that ratio of adaptability. I mean, I think 4 book printers I know of who have adapted this technology. Has it progressed much?
For PO,
Yeah.
it's still not cheap or it's still not affordable. So you need to the price point is still on the higher side. So customers with challenge may really adapt it. So and suddenly you can't go and upgrade your systems for POR.
Got it.
So the only on the current system, on the current machines, this can be adapted. So when and when required, only they probably, they will adapt this.
So two things we've picked up from you already. One is how paper should be handled and the
Yes.
science of paper, because
True.
it is like the steel in a car.
Yeah, yeah.
And the other is of course adhesives, which I think we are a little careless about as an industry, or negligent in the sense don't give it as much of priority as it should.
I think so. We should be educating customers because they think, okay, there are. It's just treated as a commodity, so
Right.
and consumable. So it comes in, okay, ये तो चाहिए book binding के
Got
लिए. So that in that way, if you treat it, a lot of complications if you don't use the right grade with respect to the paper, and if you don't run it at the right temperature, no matter if it is cheaper, you will end up paying more because the viscosity pattern is something where you can lose and you will not know where I am losing it. So most of the adhesive what is required, there is a set rule, for this particular book, for this kind of substrate, this particular coating has to be applied. So if it is more, then the per book cost would be affected on that particular.
So talking of education, again, one more. I know that you've been at two plants recently conducting hand-holding sessions or
Yes.
being like a tech doctor, more importantly, right? So again, just two questions. What is it that you are teaching or imparting? I won't say teaching because they are almost contemporaries and colleagues, but working.
Yeah.
And secondly, how much of is practical shop floor knowledge?
I think so. One is the book binding, whatever comes in as a question, or they have doubts, or the best practices. All these are as a common sessions.
Right.
But apart from that, if they have any specific challenges, it can be related to lamination or delamination, or it can be related to first page, last page opening, which is a nightmare for for certain printer binders. So there are specific reasons to it or multiple reasons to it. So we need to educate them. These are the areas where you need to focus. So all those things, I think so. It's part of that teaching process. So and when you go to the shop floor, I think so they miss out many points. And because when I get some questions, then you automatically understands that, okay, this was not there in their radar, or this was not followed. And I think so health of the machine plays a very important role. So we go check there, do an audit of the machine, and also educate them, okay, this is where you need to focus, or probably in sometimes we also set the machine. So that's how we do it as a complete package.
Third guru mantra is health of the machine. This is again one
Yes.
of, yeah, I know you've been a little careless with your own health, but you're very particular about health of equipment.
Yes.
Yeah. One final question. I know that I mean, your brain works slightly differently from other human beings, but when you walk into a book plant, you do pick up certain things.
Yeah.
I mean, the radar. I mean, things like, the glue tank not being in order.
Exactly.
And, again, as you've pointed out, health of machines, or even the runnability in terms of temperatures that they are maintaining, etc.
True.
So again, if there are three absolute no-nos, because I think sometimes we walk into a post-press unit and it just it horrifies me. So if there are two or three things you would say that these are no-nos, it's like a doctor telling a diabetic patient you are not to do these three things. If there are,
That's quite interesting because when I walk into a shop floor or to a particular factory or a bindery, what I see is how the signatures has been handled. So that is something where immediately you will find, okay, this if this is not maintained well, so subsequent or replications can be seen on the end book. No doubt about it. I am sure about that. So how if the signatures are not pressed properly, if there is a bundle kept over there, you have to just touch a bundle and see whether signatures are shaking around and how tight the bundles are, whether the bundle is having top plates and bottom plates, so that, and it should be bigger than the signature, so that each corner is pressed properly. So these are just an observation when you go through. And if I see a binder, I can from far, if I see it is fuming, I can understand that, okay, this they have not set the temperature right, or there is some problem, some mixing of adhesive, or many reasons. So that is one area. And then you just need to pick one book which is coming out of the binder, and it will share many stories. So how, so
Yeah.
what was his journey? So
Right.
and immediately you can how the spine preparation part, the most important part in a book binding or in a book perfect binding machine is the spine preparation. And first the signature, then comes and then only the gluing and the squareness of the books and things like that. But if the spine preparation, you will immediately understand if it is stone or not happening properly, sound of the milling. So all these things, if tearing sound is a different sound, a smooth cut is a different sound. So immediately you will understand, okay, the milling is worn out. So all those things are some of the thing when we just walk around and have a tour,
So
we
a lot
can
of it
immediately.
also mechanical. I mean, one is of course the
Yes.
science of doing
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
have you thought of putting together, like Tony Clark had put his book with the schematic diagrams, etc., like Suresh's mantras for the
I've
Indian?
been doing some.
Maybe, yeah, no, I mean, put it
Yeah,
in a,
well,
yeah, like
I'll
maybe
take your
what we do,
suggestion, no
yeah.
doubt about it.
I think
But
this is very
this,
helpful because I'm
yeah,
sure it's, you don't
I
have
do a
this.
couple of drawings for making presentations and then give it to
Yeah,
my colleagues who help me
yeah.
to make it into a diagram and slide.
Sure.
So
One other thing which I remember, and this is the last question, is that we used to do these knowledge sessions with publishers.
yes,
Yeah, where we basically had damaged books and
yeah,
which
yeah,
they had produced, and
exactly.
then you would sort of in a way enlighten them about what 10 mistakes they made, and I think it was an enormous eye opener. And I know people at Orient and I mean wherever we had
Yes,
conducted
yes,
this,
yes, yes.
where it just sort of exposed them to what they were doing wrong for 10, 20 years. So maybe
Actually, if you show them, teach them with examples
correct.
in hand, it makes a lot of difference. So you can relate. Oh, this was the mistake I did in this
Yeah,
job
yeah,
or this part. So I keep collecting all those bad books or the damaged books or various kind of it can be a solvent attack or it can be a web growth book or many trimming issues or not so perfectly bound with blowholes, honeycomb structure. All those complaint books I normally keep and start relating. And whenever you teach others, this becomes as a tool, and they immediately understand and correlate it.
Nice, nice. I just have one last question, and then
Yes.
I'll let you go and have
Oh,
dinner.
yeah.
Is have you come across a book and you said this is a perfectly bound book? I mean, you've come across millions of books. Have you ever? I mean, I'm curious to know. Have you come? I mean, are you like one of those gurus who sits in the Himalayas and says that this is not good? When will mankind come to your level? Yeah.
No, what you can do is only find a book which has been done perfectly with respect to the complete systems, like a cover which has a correct grain,
Right.
which the inner substrate has a correct grain. When you open the book, okay, you are able to read till the spine area,
Yeah.
and then when you close the book, it doesn't keep opening it,
Yeah.
or the covers don't keep opening it, and then the spine matches properly, proper adhesive layer. All these things are general what do you call observations when you need a good book, which normally you find many. It's not that, but when it comes to different test, so that is where you are carrying a book which is your favorite novel. Probably you'll keep it in the car dashboard and then go out for a shopping and then come out and then see, oh, the whole the adhesive there has melted. So probably that importance of 60-degree or 70-degree on top of that book, and the adhesive is not staying there.
Yep.
So that comes. There are many things inside whether it is done or not, which is not normally seen outside. So I think so. That's a small example what I told you. So
Absolutely. So thank you very much for doing this. As I have always
my privilege,
maintained
sir.
that we need to have this long series. If not anything, that snake and ladder, which
Yeah,
we can
that
put in the book
sure,
workshops
sure,
or
sure.
book binding sections where the snake
That
is
was a
sort
good
of
idea. Yeah, yeah.
and it's
Do's
illustrative
and
and
don'ts and
pictorial
kind of
because the moment you start telling people, I think they don't like to listen or read if there is something pictorial.
pictorial. Yeah, yeah.
So as always, a great pleasure to talk to Suresh. I call him Schumacher because of the speed at which he drives the car.
Oh my
His
God.
mind also works like that. I picked up 7 things from you today. I hope they have, and we will continue and have 7 more mantras from you the next
Good.
session.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.